Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Portions of today's presentation are the result of the combined efforts of Palo Alto Networks, Veeam Software, and Offsite Integrated Data Center Solutions. My name is Joe Cox, and I have 2 decades of experience and training within the disciplines of IT security, disaster recovery, and IT compliance. I serve as the VP of Managed Services at Offsite, which over the past 15 years has been providing Tier 3 data center services, disaster recovery planning and implementation, and enterprise cloud computing services. A presentation today, it shares some of the capabilities and tools and services of our companies that we use to provide and prevent your organization from experiencing data loss due to malware. We'll start by focusing on recent data on the risks posed by malware and how collectively we're doing in our countering of malware. And I'll also touch on how to protect your data and network from malware threats and how building a zero trust architecture will dramatically reduce risks. And then we'll briefly cover how replicating systems to an independent provider network prevents data loss. As part of this, I did some research and read through hundreds of pages of updated security reports and articles published by industry sources, trade publications, and the FBI. And as a number of security vendors have placed millions of antivirus agents, firewalls, and/or IDS systems into the field, they become a tremendous resource as those modern security tools provide data back to central resources. So many of the samples I'm providing, they include, for example, this one, a single vendor's public portal. This was Checkpoint in this case, reported over 26 million attack attempts against their clients on March 20th of this year alone. And an article in February, firewall vendor SonicWall reported that over 715 million malware attacks against its customers and over 345 billion intrusion attempts just in the month of January 2019. That intrusion attempts were a 12% increase over January of 2018. Now, this trend also matches reports from other vendors in North America that have a large amount of either software, agents, or devices placed in the field. These intrusion attempts, along with electronic compromises that do not write to hard disk, these are both increasing. So as a single source vendor, we also tracked in Symantec's report that over 4,800 websites were form jacked per month. Form jacking being the inserting of malicious code into website forms, resulting in copies of client data being forwarded to e-crime organizations. This is used by bad actors to collect credit card information along with other personal identification data. Symantec also noted that another 70 million records were stolen from S3 buckets in 2018, and that enterprise ransomware infections increased by 12% over the numbers from 2017. Attack rates are still increasing, and large payouts are still being achieved, which is resulting in an increased focus by e-crime organizations really getting focused in on what they look at as big game hunting, which simply means in their world they're focused in on what will ever deliver what they estimate will be the largest financial gain. Now let's look next at a few important metrics on how we're collectively responding when these hacking efforts result in a compromised machine. The global median dwell time improved in 2018, dwell time being the amount of time lapsed between a bad actor having compromised your systems and your discovery of that compromise. This dropped globally to a median of 78 days. Now, the other good news is 30% of compromised machines are now discovered within 30 days. North America is currently showing the best results when broken down by continent, with a median dwell time of closer to 71 days. However, the median dwell time of external attacks for North America still exceeds 137 days. Overall, organizations are getting better at responding and stopping compromised systems, but the numbers show slow progression. So let's look at the other side of this. Once a system is compromised, how quickly do bad actors take advantage of that? Now, CrowdStrike observed an overall increase in breakout time in 2018. It's another good aspect of this from year over year. But again, small incremental improvements. The breakout time being identified as the speed with which adversaries accomplish lateral movement in the victim's computing environment after the initial compromise takes place. If we look at this graph, they're classifying using animals to group different groups of bad actors. The fastest 4 groups on the top 4 are government-sponsored hacking organizations. So these state-sponsored activities tend to be the most effective and most well-funded, while Spider at the bottom is the average time of breakout by those identified as e-crime organizations. They've been grouped together for a single average. It's important to note, though, for those that haven't tracked these numbers, knowing the average of breakout time of e-crime organizations is less than 10 hours may be surprising. Let's look at what these two numbers tell us about our challenge ahead. Simply subtracting the average breakout time from the median dwell time of 137 days provides us with a clear indicator to the other challenge we continue to face. E-crime organizations, once having compromised the system, have far too much time to work off of a trusted system within our networks to do damage. Approaching these problems with traditional firewalls, perhaps an IDS at the edge of your network, and antivirus software is not enough. Better solutions are needed to create an active defense along with backup and replication systems that are on isolated networks with isolated security credentials. Now, we want to talk a little about the zero trust model. The traditional perimeter model of network and system security has placed a heavy focus upon the edge of the network, and then supplements that in the more modern perimeter approach. We've enhanced this with antivirus software, perhaps an IDS. We've covered those on workstation and server systems. But once compromised, meaning the attack is now seen as a threat in most cases, and the code is now in use on a machine within our network that allows e-crime organizations to act from within a trusted position within our networks. Now, if an organization used something like Google Apps for the majority of their needs, this would be a good example of a zero trust application security model. At no point does Google's application delivery assume its servers should not be secured against attack from your company's PCs, nor does using these applications create an assumption that your PCs should provide an unassumed trust within your network to all your other PCs and devices. So the zero trust model has us start from the ground up, assuming that every device is connected and coming across the internet. That isn't always the case. It usually is not the case in our private organizations, but it's good to address security from that perspective. Because many organizations still use legacy applications that cannot be delivered via a software as a service type of web type model, the zero trust hybrid model is often the first step, as it more easily incorporates legacy applications. Now, this diagram was drawn with that kind of approach in mind from a simplified 10,000-foot view. This allows for a mix of application delivery and often extends firewalls or software-based security agents to establish rules to limit how and what data can be accessed, adding security capabilities that many legacy applications do not offer up. Now, this results in gaining the full visibility of traffic between public and private networks, as well as within private networks. This really helps a lot when it comes to prevention of attacks, and that these rules now can quickly be created that set the baseline of security rules that will dramatically increase the breakout time required for adversaries to find and access important data on other systems once they've gained access. And this provides us the visibility to quickly identify those compromised systems by the type of activity that takes place. We look at, a simplified way of addressing these issues. With the attack frequency and complexity of attacks increasing, we've designed security and recovery from that different approach, one that assumes will make efforts to block all attacks, but that a system will be compromised, and that files and systems will be stolen or locked by ransomware and need to be recovered. As a result, Offsite's backup systems for backup and replication are designed to be isolated and relied upon. Our clients' daily backups and replicated systems are off of their networks, supported by our engineers, and validated daily. And that outlook our engineers take as service providers is that you are going to need these backups on any given day. So it changes a little bit of the approach from the traditional outlook as backups being set up for replication on just a major disaster. Our second shift was to Palo Alto Networks with their next generation platform. This allowed us to work with our clients to begin helping them shift to a zero trust model for approaching the security of their networks and their systems. The Palo Alto system provides the detailed visibility into all data traffic, and the ability to selectively stop unwanted traffic can be completed and completely change how we look at what we're capable of doing easily within our security operations. Just a couple more quick slides that I want to cover. And this first one is just looking in at the type of visibility, because this one of the big strengths of this platform is the delivery of detailed real-time information on all traffic. The system identifies the user, the machine, the location, the application, IP addresses of source and destination, and the ports in use, along with all sorts of different types of information that can be pulled out should that traffic contain any type of malware. In addition, the Palo Alto Single Pass engine performs complete virus and malware scans in real time. And by using their agent software on your systems, this can incorporate the user's machines into that whole group of secured pieces and parts with rule sets that will help keep you configured from end to end with the same type of security elements in mind, so that security can be extended out to those machines that are connecting from anywhere and everywhere in the world. This detailed reporting and flexible rule-based building will allow legacy applications to be incorporated into a secure application delivery framework. And this can help us all provide the type of protections needed to counter the types of attacks being used in 2019. If we look at the other side of this, we've also implemented with Veeam Cloud Connect for backup and replication files. In this example, we're displaying your production site and our data center site at Offsite. Now, the other piece of this is the Cloud Gateway comes into play. What the Cloud Gateway does is it's a part of this Cloud Connect service that provides a secure SSL connection and can be used in multiple gateways for load balancing. Now, the Cloud Repository is provided as a service to our clients. We actually have two different cloud repositories. Now, these are all elements that are designed and isolated from our clients' environments and isolated from their authentication infrastructure. It's a very important piece to make sure so that if you do have compromised machines in your environment, and those who are compromising are looking to do attacks ransomware based, it's very important that they cannot view both production and recovery data. And the two different types of storage we provide to our clients, really it's decided by what their goals are. For many of our clients, they're looking for third tier disk-based storage, something they can inexpensively do, but do want to run that off to disk for the benefits of the quicker recovery. And some of our other clients will use this for full recovery systems on the fly, so that if their primary systems go down or they have a hardware failure or a major attack, we're able to quickly power up and connect all their systems so they can operate remotely off of our facility. On this example, the regular backup copy jobs happen. Those will happen locally, and then copies will be pushed to us. While the direct backup copy jobs are possible as well, it kind of breaks with one of the rules of making sure you do have local copies as well as additional copies of backups at another facility. So while that runs, we really do want to keep away from having our clients stop backing up at their sites simply because they have these running at ours. It does become very important in this model to keep these copies at multiple locations. And the other part that becomes key when we look at the possibility of attackers working from a longer perspective in your environment, should they compromise a machine, is to make sure that not only do you have those recent backups to recover from, but that we've also got some sort of archiving history planned into this so that we do have weekly or monthly backups for 6 months, possibly a year, and that you also have whatever requirements you face from a compliance perspective for monthly or annual backups that are kept much longer. At this time, I just want to thank you for clicking in to view our presentation and taking the time out of your schedule to learn a little bit more about our company. If you would like to learn more about this, we have a whole host of security data that we've assembled, as well as a sales team you can contact at sales@offsite.com or dial us up at 1-262-564-6400, and we can connect you with the right people to dive deeper into what might work best for your company. Thank you.